back to your emotional support podcast. I'm your host, Noelle Rizzio, and today we've made it. This is the final episode of season 2, and wow, what a journey it has been. This season, we've talked about mom guilt, boundaries, self-worth, comparison, confidence, all the messy, beautiful parts of being a working mom, trying to do it all and be enough. Today's episode, The Freedom Formula, letting go of guilt and getting your life back, is all about putting it all together. Because you don't need more lists, hacks, or pressure to be better. You need freedom. Freedom from guilt, from unrealistic expectations, from the belief that your worth depends on how much you do. So in today's episode, we're talking about what freedom actually looks like for working moms, how to finally stop feeling guilty for taking care of you, and real stories from women who've learned to rewrite their worth and reclaim their lives. And I'm going to be sharing a little bit more about that workshop that I've got coming up in February. This workshop is designed to help you take these lessons from inspiration to transformation. So what does freedom really mean? Let's start here. When I say freedom, I don't mean a vacation or a spotless house or a week without chaos. Freedom is an internal shift. It's the moment you realize you can still be a good mom and say no. I can rest without earning it. I can choose joy without guilt. Freedom isn't about escaping our responsibilities. It's about releasing the shame that's tied to them. It's waking up and realizing that you get to decide what kind of mom, woman, and human you want to be, not what everyone else expects you to be. And once you start living that truth, everything changes. So let's talk about how guilt keeps you stuck. It's that familiar companion of motherhood, guilt. Mom guilt says you should be doing more. You should be more patient. You should be grateful. But guilt is sneaky. It pretends to be responsibility when really it's shame in disguise. It tells you that being good means being selfless, that rest is lazy, that saying no is selfish. But here's the truth. Guilt doesn't make you a better mom. It just makes you a more exhausted one. Freedom starts when you stop asking, what do they need from me? And start asking, what do I need to stay whole? Because when you start taking care of yourself, not perfectly, but intentionally, you become the mom your kids actually need. Present, patient, and human. All right, so now we're going to talk about some real stories of women reclaiming their worth. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is a mom of 3 who used to feel guilty anytime she wasn't doing something productive. After working through the self-worth exercises, she started small, one boundary, one no, one night off at a time. Now, she told me, I finally feel like I'm living with my family instead of living for them. And then there's Maria. She described herself as the default parent, the peacemaker, the planner, the one who holds it all together. But once she realized she didn't have to earn her worth, she started letting her partner share some of the load. She said, it's wild. I thought I'd lose control, but what I found was peace. These women didn't change who they were. They changed how they saw themselves. And that's the difference between guilt-driven living and freedom-driven living. So how do we start letting go? Letting go isn't about doing less. It's about doing what matters most. So here's where you start. First thing you need to do is forgive yourself for the guilt. It's not proof of failure. It's evidence that you care. But caring doesn't mean carrying everything. You need to also reclaim your enough. reframe what that looks like in your head. Your worth isn't up for negotiation. It doesn't depend on your productivity, your body, or your patience level. What is your enough? Start redefining what that means for you. And then the third way is to choose peace on purpose. Rest, joy, and boundaries, they're acts of rebellion against burnout. Every no to something that drains you is a yes to the life you actually want. And then redefining success. Success doesn't mean doing it all. Success is doing what aligns with your values and letting the rest go. So here's what I want you to take from today and really from this entire season. You were never meant to be everything for everyone. You were meant to be you. You don't need to prove, perform, or perfect your way to being worthy. You just have to remember who you are and give yourself permission to live like she matters, because she really does. If this season has helped you breathe a little deeper, laugh a little more, or feel a little less alone, thank you for being here. If you're ready for the next step, I'd love to have you join me in my Quiet the Inner Critic workshop. You can get the details and sign up at noelrizio.com/workshop. And don't forget, I'm giving away the first 10 seats at 50% off. They're not all gone yet. You can still get your spot for half off. There's no code needed. And what I really want you to remember is that what you listen to on a weekly basis here is amazing. But if you are ready to take those next steps, I do have courses available on my website. I have those freebies that I've mentioned throughout the season, the journal prompts, the 5-minute challenge to quiet your inner, the 5-day challenge to quiet your inner critic, the guilt survival kit. All of those are always available on my website for you to work on any of these things that you feel like you might need a little extra time to sit with. And I'm always available. You can reach out to me on my website. I'm here to help you build that sense of self-worth. I will be starting back up this podcast after I work on a little other adventure. I'm going to be starting another podcast specifically for counselors. And so I'm going to take some time off from this podcast to start up that one. It's called the Counselor HQ podcast. If you are a counselor and you want to learn more about that, you can check out that information on counselorhq.net. Got my hands in juggling lots of different plates right now. But I'm still always here for you, and this podcast will return in the new year. Until next season, remember this: you don't owe the world perfection, just your presence. And that, my friend, is more than enough. I'm so glad you're here.